This is Flavor Profile, a series where we look at ingredients that are similar, in some cases even interchangeable. We talk about what makes them alike, but more importantly, where they are distinct. This is a flavor profile on braising greens. Braising greens are dark leafy greens that, while edible raw, are more often than not cooked low and slow to break down their fibrous tissue. You'll often find them right next to each other at the grocery store. Today we're going to be discussing kale, collard greens, mustard greens, and Swiss chard. Let's break it down. Kale is a member of the Brassica family, which is the same family as broccoli or cabbage. Kale comes in many varietals, but you'll generally find it in either the curly leaf variety or the dino variety, which is also called lasiato kale. Kale has an almost peppery, slightly bitter taste when raw, but it mellows out and becomes very sweet and earthy the longer it cooks. Out of all the greens we're discussing here today, this is both the most commonly found and probably the most versatile in cooking method. Collard greens are a wide, leafy green that also hails from the Brassica family, and their leaves are the toughest of the bunch. Raw collard greens are incredibly bitter, and you will very rarely find them eaten raw. They are the epitome of the low and slow cooked green. Due to their high sulfur content, collard greens are very bitter when raw, but when cooked over a long period of time, collard greens go from being bitter to being more sweet, and as they cook are incredibly good at soaking up the flavors of other ingredients in the pan. Mustard greens are a lighter leafy green that also hail from the Brassica family. They actually come from the same plant where you would get mustard seeds. Mustard greens have a very distinct flavor that some people have compared to horseradish. It is peppery and has a bite that, while pleasant, can easily overpower a dish. Swiss chard, or rainbow chard, is a leafy green that's actually from the beet family. Swiss chard comes in many different colors. Swiss chard has a very distinct flavor, and if you've ever had beets before, it's somewhat similar to that. Chard's central stem is very similar in texture to a celery, and when you prepare chard for cooking, you will often separate the stem and dice it up, and then cook the greens separately. Swiss chard can probably handle the least amount of cooking, but still does hold up well to a long, low, and slow cook. Let's talk about where you can substitute one for the other pretty well. If you're sticking with a quick cook time, you should probably use chard or kale. If you're cooking your greens for a very long time, collard greens are the tried and true way to go, but you can substitute a very hearty kale. If your recipe specifically calls for mustard greens, you can substitute any of the other greens, and none of the greens are going to have the same peppery bite as mustard greens. In general, since kale is the most widely found of these braising greens, it can serve as a substitute for pretty much all of the others in a pinch. This has been a flavor profile on braising greens. And until next time, I'm Kara, and I can cook.